I'm Kris.
And I'm Wyatt Elliott from Notebook Entertainment.
And this is Horrorland News. We've been off for a while. We were busy filming a short horror film. We entered it in a contest. Whether or not we make it further, we will be releasing it around Halloween on our YouTube channel. So look out for that.
Exactly.
We're excited. We also went and saw Talk to Me, so we'll have our review for that up sometime next week. So keep an eye out for that. Ring the bell so you get notified. Let's get into this. We're going to start with strike updates. The AMPTP has contacted the WGA, not SAG-AFTRA, just the WGA, and they finally agreed to sit down at a table to talk on Friday, which is when this will probably be coming out. So
today.
So we'll have hopefully more updates next week.
By the time this airs, it'll all be settled, right?
Yeah, no, because the AMPTP is still outright rejecting majority of the SAG-AFTRA claims. So
yeah.
Yep. And then we've got WB Discovery joining the chorus of bad takes from studios. Apparently, they went around bragging that the WGA strike in the second quarter helped their studio save $100 million because they weren't having to pay writers.
I mean, that's one way of spinning it. You know?
I know you have to say something to your, investors and stockholders and all that, but I mean, how do you think that's going to make you sound in the press?
Like, you put it in perspective of any other business. Hey, we didn't order any hamburgers today, so we saved a lot of money.
Right.
Like,
you're also not selling any hamburgers.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
it's not.
So Zaslav gave a few quotes that were ultimately meaningless and just word salad for nothing. But basically, he said that he hopes the strikes would end and everyone feels they are fairly compensated. Now, let me read between the lines of this bullshit for you. Basically, they want to pay as little as possible so that everyone feels they were heard, not that they actually get paid fairly at all.
Right.
Like, that's not their concern.
Mm-hmm. So I think a good analogy for this is like when you go buy a car. They're not concerned about they don't want you to be concerned about how much you're paying for the car. They just want you to be concerned about what the payments are, and then you're happy. Like, I can live with that.
Yeah, I could pay $300 a month for this
deal.
$22,000 car.
Right. Turns out you're way overpaying. But that's kind of the analogy because they're going to try to pay him, well, hey, we'll give you like a 25% raise. Whatever that their little thing they're going to dangle in front of them. And if enough people go, well,
that's fair.
That's fair. I can get a better apartment with that.
I think, and they've been saying for a while now that they're in for the long haul, our strikers. So they've been estimating it could go as long as 6 months. I think Fran Drescher said financially, because a lot of big names from Seth MacFarlane to Arnold Schwarzenegger,
George
Clooney, they've been donating money, $1 million a piece. Oprah, I think, was one of them, donated $1 million a piece to the fund so that they can keep going. And Fran Drescher's come out and said, we're in this for the long haul. They're estimating it could take up to 6 months, which Hollywood has said that they're going to be out of new projects by the end of the year. Major studios are pushing back releases that were supposed to happen this year to next year so that they have something to release. Because look at it this way. Even if they solve this next week, it's going to take a while to get the machine flowing again. Even if they solve this, they might still not have projects to put out for next year.
I know I'm going to sound like a broken record because I do feel like I've said this on camera before, but they need to take this time and work on, like for instance, Deadpool was shut down. So they shot a lot of it. If the editors aren't on strike, if the special effect people aren't on strike, you could take this time to actually work on that stuff, assuming that's allowed.
As long as you pay them correctly.
Well, yeah, as long as you...
Because that's the problem. Animation needs to get a union together.
It really does. But as far as I know, they don't have one, or they just get screwed because... Right. But my point is, this would buy them a lot more time, so they wouldn't have to work.
And make better
if they wouldn't have to work as much, so...
Well, that's all we know on the strikes right now. Like I said, they're sitting down with the WGA tomorrow, today, whenever you're seeing this. And so hopefully next week we'll have better updates, but probably not. So let's move on. We don't have much to talk about in TV right now, so let's just go straight to our trailer park.
In a world.
So I just want to say that these are okay to go see in theaters because they were completed pre-strike. So yes, they are from struck companies, but they were completed before the strike took effect. So you are okay to go see these. The first, Saw X. We talked about that last time and how I was disappointed. I'm still disappointed that we're not furthering the story, but again, they could hide Gordon somewhere in there. Who knows? The trailer does make me feel much better about it, though. The trailer is cool.
Yeah, the trailer does look cool. Like, it looks like kind of what I thought, though, where he goes for a treatment, gets screwed over, and ends up staying over there and just killing everybody.
Right.
That was
Which
involved
fair.
in it.
I mean,
yeah, I mean, you know.
They did the same thing to Andy Kaufman, those fake shamans or whatever.
Yeah, so I mean, that's cool. I'm fine with that.
Right. So, of course, from the trailer you see that both John Kramer and Amanda are back, Amanda Young. My only thing is I wish it was moving the story forward instead of going back to like, oh, this also happened. Like,
I mean, is it far enough back, do you think, that if they did sneak Gordon in there, they'd have to de-age him? Or do you think that he would look
it depends on if they end the movie with that all being like a flashback and Gordon was somehow involved and he's,
that's what I was thinking.
to bring it into present day. That's what I'm really hoping they're going to do.
That would be kind of cool if they did do it that way.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool.
So, fingers crossed. But either way, I'm going to go see it. So I mean,
September 29th.
Yep, September 29th in theaters. All right, so let's move on to the other big one that was released, Exorcist Believer. That will be in theaters October 13th. Trailer looks okay. Here's what it's about. Since the death of his pregnant wife in a Haitian earthquake 12 years ago, Victor Fielding has raised their daughter Angela on his own. But when Angela and her friend Catherine disappear in the woods, only to return 3 days later with no memory of what happened to them, it unleashes a chain of events that will force Victor to confront the nadir of evil and, in his terror and desperation, seek out the only person alive who has witnessed anything like it before, Kris McNeil.
Dun, dun, dun.
Enter Ellen Burstyn.
But wait a minute, there's a tons of Exorcist movies. It must happen all the time.
Right. Well, she's the expert, I guess.
Honestly, like, yeah, I think the trailer looked fine, but, like, if it didn't have the Exorcist name on it and David Gordon Green, you know, being that he's trying to repeat the Halloween success with this, obviously, now. But, like, that's the only thing that makes it interesting to me. Otherwise, yeah, it's like two little girls. I don't know if they're sharing a demon or what, but I'm not seeing how this is a trilogy.
Exorcism movies have never been my wheelhouse. Like, that's not my subgenre of horror. I don't care for it. I've seen them, a lot of them, but it's just not my favorite. I do want to say here my predictions, because Ellen Burstyn is reprising her role. I think because it's David Gordon Green, he probably, and Danny McBride, there's probably a plan to do more than one.
They already said it's a trilogy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're doing the trilogy. I think they brought Ellen Burstyn back first because she's older.
Yeah.
And you want to get her character in there. So I'm betting Kris McNeil dies in this one, and that opens the door for Linda Blair to come for the second one.
Yeah, because Gordon Green was asked about Linda Blair being in it, and they said that they brought her on as a consultant.
Right.
I'm expecting like Linda Blair to show up at the end or something.
Oh, for sure. Because like I said, I'm pretty sure Kris McNeil is going to die in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, she's been around too long,
yeah.
and she's not, Laurie. She's never been that fight 'em back final girl. Like,
and honestly, as far as I'm concerned, I guess there isn't a high bar here because as far as Exorcist sequels go, Exorcist 3 is the only tolerable one. I'm not saying it's a great movie, but it's at least tolerable. It has some spooky moments.
Right.
But my God, part 2 and 4, both part 4s are just, you can't, they're not unwatchable. They're unwatchable. Right. So, good luck.
Good luck, David Gordon Green. All right, so let's move out of Trailer Park and go to the news. So, we wanted some changes for Scream 7, and boy, did we get some!
Right, like, I don't know, it could be good.
So here's what's going on. Christopher Landon is taking over for Radio Silence on Scream 7. You know him from Happy Death Day, Freaky, but I like the Happy Death Day movies. Radio Silence has reportedly stepped away in order to work on an original horror film for Universal. But they will stay on as executive producers for Scream 7.
Oh, we reported on that. It was like a monster one or something, remember?
Yeah. So that's probably what they're like. We don't have time for Scream 7.
Yeah, apparently that got greenlit.
Right.
Because I think when we were talking about it, it was like they were just discussing it.
Yep.
with Universal.
And for Scream 7, there's no script yet and no idea who will write one due to the writer's strike.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
that's a stalled project for sure.
AI will write it.
I wish
Don't
they would
worry,
contact
it's
me
fine.
because if you haven't watched our Scream review, I have what I think is an interesting idea for what Scream 7 could be. So check that out. But
I do want to say that I think your point that you said off camera is important. So I'm going to tell him. She said that the worry is that if Radio Silence had a plan, and now you bring in somebody else at the end.
Yeah.
Now, it clearly wasn't a great plan.
But it was a plan.
But it was a plan. So now you're going to bring somebody else. Now, whether he can fix it or whether he just decides, well, fuck that, I'm going to do my own thing.
Exactly. Like Return, the Jedi.
Yeah,
movie.
the Last Jedi. That's the problem you run into. Or is he going to come in and go, no, here's the outline, and, do his
Well, they
version
don't
of
even
that
have a
outline.
script yet.
But they don't have a script, so... Yeah, I don't know. Or it could also save us from a repeat of Scream 3
Right,
that we were
'cause
inevitably going to get.
As we've pointed out, Scream 5 is Scream 1.
Yeah.
Scream 6 is Scream 2.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the same story retold a different way.
And I think now that it's on digital and more people are watching it over and over again, I've been seeing the internet kind of turn on Scream 6. Mm-hmm. And they're all starting to say, when did you pick it out? And everyone's saying, I figured it out early in the movie, and it was no shock.
In our review, we talk about how I like 30 minutes into the movie, I leaned over and told him the entire plot of the movie.
Sure did, and she was right, too. I was like, no, it's gonna, oh, fuck.
Yeah, so if they could do something completely surprising, go for it, Christopher. Like,
I think that's what Scream needs at this point. It needs
surprise.
it needs a really, it needs a,
Halloween Kills.
what was his name? Cunningham.
Yeah.
Corey. It needs a Corey.
It needs a Corey.
That's what I wanted to try to term that phrase. It needs so
a
instead
Corey.
of jumping the shark when it goes bad,
Right.
if it needs reviving,
It needs a Corey.
It needs a Corey. Because I've seen people on the internet are turning around about Corey too. So.
Because it was a good idea. Like, he needed to come in at the end of Halloween Kills. That entire first part of him with the babysitting and everything, that needed to be the end of Halloween Kills. Would have solved the whole problem.
And what a cliffhanger! And then he could have been a character throughout it, and you cared about him, and
exactly.
But yeah,
that's where they fumbled the bag there. But whatever. We digress. Let's move on. Fan film Never Hike Alone 2 has wrapped its principal photography.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah, it's a sequel to the popular 2017 fan film from Womp Stomp Studios about Jason Voorhees. They've released some images and stills from the sequel. And this is a direct sequel to Never Hike Alone, as well as Never Hike in the Snow, which was another little short they did.
I like that. I saw that one.
It is slated to release October 2023, I'm assuming, on their YouTube channel.
So.
All right, so that was a fun little story. Let's move on. Twilight of the Dead. George A. Romero's final zombie project will be made.
I saw that. That's pretty cool.
He had planned this film before his 2017 death, and Roundtable Entertainment has finally provided financial backing for the project. The original treatment for the planned project was penned by Romero, but Joe Netter, Robert Lucas, and Paolo Zalotti have written the actual screenplay. I'm assuming they're going off of his
notes
layouts
and stuff.
yeah. Twilight of the Dead is said to, quote, delve into the dark nature of humanity from the perspective of the last humans on Earth who are caught between factions of the undead.
Right.
I mean...
Yeah, sounds cool.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, right.
And his wife, Suzanne Romero, she is part of the production team. They were in negotiations with a director and in talks with cast before the strike hit. Because they're an indie film with no ties to any of the struck AMPTP companies, they are applying for an interim agreement to keep going.
Interesting.
Yep. I think they'll get it.
I think they should contact...
They're not part of the AMPTP. They should get it.
I think they should contact Brandon Salisbury, who's doing the Resident Evil documentary.
Yeah. I hope they're talking. Like, that'd be cool.
Right, because, he was even telling us that he was filming segments for the Resident Evil thing that was reenactments and stuff, and I think he's done films before, so... Be cool.
Talk, you guys.
Right.
All right, so moving on, we have an update on Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark 2. While interviewing director Andre Ovedal about his new movie, The Last Voyage of Demeter, Matt Donato of IGN asked the director about Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, as it was announced way back in 2020, but hasn't had any updates. Ovedal said, quote, "We have a story. We have a script. We've been working on the script as late as last year and even slightly into this year. The process obviously stopped with the strike, but it's alive for sure. COVID and then The Last Voyage of Demeter eating up 2 years of my life certainly put a dent in the progress."
Fair.
So it is happening.
Okay.
We just need the strikes to end, which means we need the studios to start paying people fairly and regulate AI. Do not blame actors or writers for these strikes, guys. It is all the studios.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, what I'm hearing there is that the Demeter one was ready to go. It was a
Yeah.
paying gig. He had to take that.
Which
and
it looks awesome. I can't wait to see
does
it.
look really
We haven't
good,
seen it
yeah.
yet, but
The
I'm
final
gonna see
product
it.
does look pretty
Right.
cool.
All right, so Universal is remaking Bride of Frankenstein. It will be called The Bride, and it's going to be directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Really?
Yeah.
This is news to me, guys. I haven't even heard this.
Yeah, it's going to star Penelope Cruz as the bride, Christian Bale as Frankenstein. I assume Doctor, since Frankenstein is not the name of the monster.
I know, but unfortunately, I did immediately picture him as the monster at first. He kind of looked like the Hammer Frankenstein, honestly. I'm like, yeah, I can see that.
It works. But no, Christian Bale's, I assume, Dr. Frankenstein. And Peter Sarsgaard in an unnamed role.
The
The
monster.
Yeah, I can see him as the monster,
yeah, I can
too,
see that.
for sure.
I can see that.
There's no plot details yet, so they don't know if this is going to be true to, the old genre film, or if it's going to be something more like Renfield.
Oh.
So we don't know yet.
Right. It's
Production was set to begin in 2024, but as with everything else, we'll see.
Wah, wah,
Right. All right. So let's move on to Indie Film Spotlight.
My advice to young filmmakers, make a movie every week. Make films, no matter what anybody says, and you'll be a filmmaker.
So this one, we're actually going to be talking about a trailer, and I
it's a
love
good
it.
one, guys.
I love it because I don't care how bad this movie might be. Like, I'm going to see it. It's called Slotherhouse.
This is the new Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey,
I
guys,
love
right
sloths.
here.
They're so cute.
But this is a murdering sloth.
Which makes it better.
It'll get you like.
So cute. It's a horror comedy.
Yeah.
It'll be in theaters August 30th. I'm assuming select theaters. It
Yeah,
didn't really specify.
I'm really surprised that it's gonna be in theaters. But.
So here's what Slotherhouse is about. It's senior year of college for sorority sister Emily Young, and for the first time ever, Sigma Lambda Theta is having elections for who will be president. Wanting to have a killer year, Emily Young realizes she might just be the best option for her sorority. While beginning her campaign, she finds an adorable sloth that steals her heart, fair, and soon realizes she just might steal the hearts and votes of her sorority sisters. But when bodies slowly begin to pile up in the Sigma Lambda Theta house, Emily and her sorority sisters realize the deaths are being carried out by their new house mascot, the cuddly sloth Alpha. Will Emily and her sisters escape the house with their lives, or is this death sloth with 3 razor sharp claws too quick for them? I can't wait to watch this movie.
Death Sloth. I love it. I love it. Yes, this is going to be, I mean.
It looks stupid, but I love sloths, you guys.
It does look stupid, but honestly, like the costume or puppet, whatever they've got, it's not bad looking.
I hope he lives in the end.
Well, yeah.
I hope he lives.
I didn't think it was bad looking, Like, it looks cheap, but it looks like something that would be, I can just
want
think
him to win.
worse.
I want him to kill them all.
Yeah.
Kill them all, Alpha. Her. She's her. Kill her all.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, Michael Myers slowly walks
That's
after
what I'm saying.
everybody.
Like,
you
could say, well, sloths are slow, but is it any slower than any other horror villain stalking after people who are running? Like,
and then
please.
just walk as slow as you can.
Please.
Yeah, because it looked like she opened the shower and he was just still. And just,
I cannot wait for this movie, you guys.
Oh my god, yeah. Did it say when it's going to be released?
It's August 30th.
Okay.
And it just said in theaters, but I'm assuming it's select theaters. It didn't specify in the article I
Fandango,
saw.
don't let us down on this one.
Right. I will travel.
Not Fandango, what is it?
Whatever.
Oh, yeah,
I don't give a fuck. I will travel to another theater in another town if I have to.
Yeah, we're going to look for this one. I think it's going to be great. We're going to try to find a theater. If we do, we'll review it.
We will definitely
Otherwise, we'll stream it when it's available on streaming.
And then we'll review it.
Yeah, exactly. Fathom Events, that's what I was thinking of. Don't let us down, guys.
Right.
get us a damn sloth movie.
God, I hope it's somewhere near here.
God. All right, I think that's our show for today. Thank you guys for tuning in and letting us inform you for today on all things horror. Please like and subscribe on our buttons right over there. little red one. Smash that subscribe button, as they say. So yeah, I think I've taken enough of your time. I'm gonna go shut up now.
All right, and I'm gonna go talk over here.
All right.